Every day, Ben & Jerry's churns out nearly 1 million pints of ice cream, enough to fill over 100 shipping containers stacked end to end. These creamy creations, packed with giant chunks and iconic swirls, are shipped to fans across the globe. But what's the secret behind this sweet success? How do they turn farm-fresh ingredients into one of the world's most beloved desserts? We're about to take a deep dive into the tech, machinery, and pure magic that brings Ben & Jerry's to life. Get ready to scoop up some seriously cool insights. Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield were childhood friends born 4 days apart in 1951 in Brooklyn, New York. You could say that ice cream, it runs in their veins. During his senior year of high school, Ben drove an ice cream truck. After high school, he attended and dropped out of various colleges in the Northeast, eventually leaving his studies altogether to teach pottery on a working farm in New York's Adirondack region, where he also dabbled in ice cream making. Jerry started on a more traditional path. After graduating high school, he attended Oberlin College to study medicine, working as an ice cream scooper in the school's cafeteria. Upon graduating, he returned to New York to work as a lab technician, all while applying to medical school without much success. During his lab tech days, he shared a Manhattan apartment with Ben. After moving to North Carolina for a few years, Jerry reunited with Ben in Saratoga Springs, New York, and they decided to go into the food business together. At first, the pair thought about making bagels, but decided the necessary equipment was too expensive. Instead, they settled on ice cream. They decided Burlington, Vermont was an ideal location for a scoop shop because it was a college town without an ice cream parlor. They took a $5 ice cream making course at Penn State University and a $12,000 investment, $4,000 of which was a bank loan. And they transformed a rundown gas station in Burlington, Vermont into the first Ben & Jerry's ice cream shop in 1978. From the start, their approach was unconventional. Since Ben has anosmia, which is a condition that limits his sense of taste and smell, Jerry took charge of flavor design, packing their ice cream with chunky mix-ins to ensure that Ben could still enjoy the texture. This stuffed-style ice cream became their signature and a fan favorite. The shop was an instant hit. By 1979, they introduced their first ever free cone day to thank the community, a tradition that continues to this day. Now, as their reputation grew, so did their commitment to making ice cream with a purpose, using high-quality, sustainable ingredients that support global communities. Let's dive into the tale of how a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream goes from farm-fresh milk to the dreamy dessert you know and love. It's a story filled of freshness, creativity, and a sprinkle of global goodness. Every pint of Ben & Jerry starts in Vermont, where the grass is greener and the cows are happier. The milk used for this iconic treat comes straight from the St. Albans Cooperative Creamery. Picture this, lush green fields dotted with contented cows grazing to their heart's delight. These farms are local legends, and their milk, pure and fresh, is nothing short of liquid gold. Here's the cool part. This milk doesn't waste time on a road trip. It's whisked away to a nearby factory and stored in silos that hold up to 6,000 gallons. That's enough to fill about 96,000 pints of ice cream. Now, inside the factory, the milk teams up with cream and sugar in a mixing tank that's like a cosmic cauldron. Together, they create the smooth, velvety base that serves as the perfect canvas for flavor artistry. It's the blank page on which every Ben & Jerry's masterpiece begins. Ben & Jerry's doesn't stop at milk and sugar. They scour the globe for the finest ingredients. Their commitment to fair trade means that every pint comes with a sprinkle of social justice. Here are a few star players in this global adventure. Vanilla. Sourced from smallholder farmers in Madagascar, this aromatic gem gives classic flavors their elegant essence. Cocoa. Harvested by dedicated growers in West Africa, cocoa adds that irresistible chocolatey kick. Sugar. Sweetness with a conscience. This ingredient supports sustainable practices worldwide. And what about those fudgy, chewy brownies? Well, they're baked with heart at Grayston Bakery in New York, a place where people facing barriers to employment get a fresh start. Every brownie chunk in your pint is more than delicious, it's a story of empowerment. Once these premium ingredients make their way to the factory, the real magic begins. And trust us, it's the perfect blend of precision, creativity, and some seriously cool tech. Let's step inside and see how it all comes together. Picture a serene Vermont farm where rolling green pastures are dotted with happy and grazing cows. This is where Ben & Jerry's journey begins. Their caring dairy program isn't just a feel-good tagline, it's a way of life. The company partners with farmers who treat their cows humanely and focus on sustainable farming practices. Once the milk is collected, it doesn't hang around. It's whisked away to the factory at lightning speed to keep it fresh. At the factory, the milk is welcomed by a rigorous lineup of quality checks. Think of it as a red carpet moment where only the best gets through. If it passes the test, it's pumped into colossal 6,000-gallon silos. These silos, standing tall like guardians of goodness, keep the milk icy cold and ready to work its magic. Now the fun begins. The milk flows into the blend tank, a huge high-tech cauldron with mixing arms that would make any mad scientist envious. Here, milk teams up with cream, sugar, and sometimes egg yolks. These ingredients are measured so precisely you'd think NASA was in charge. And the result? A silky smooth sweet cream base that's the foundation of every Ben & Jerry's flavor you've ever loved. And because pretty good isn't good enough for Ben & Jerry's, the mixture goes through a state-of-the-art homogenizer. Imagine a superhero scene where the blend is blasted with high pressure, breaking down fat molecules until it's as smooth as velvet. This step guarantees that every pint has that signature creamy texture you can't resist. So what if we told you that the secret behind Ben & Jerry's legendary ice cream lies in just two simple bases? It's true. At the heart of their delicious empire are the sweet cream base and the chocolate base. These humble beginnings are the starting point for fan-favorite flavors like fish food, vanilla, half-baked, and the indulgent chocolate therapy. But how does a plain base transform into the mouth-watering treat that you grab from the freezer aisle? Let's dive into the story. Imagine you're in a Ben & Jerry's kitchen. Oh, the smell of sugar and cocoa. The sweet cream base, the more versatile of the two, forms a foundation for flavors bursting with chunks, swirls, and caramel ribbons. For chocolate lovers, though, the chocolate base is where the magic begins. This is where cocoa powder joins the party, creating that deep, rich, chocolatey punch that just screams indulgence. But wait, before the base can become the stuff of dreams, it has to take a hot and cold roller coaster ride through the pasteurizer. Think of this machine as a bodyguard for flavor. It heats the mix swiftly to about 180 degrees using hot steel plates, which sounds intense, but the process is so quick it protects the flavor and creamy texture. This flash heating zaps harmful bacteria while leaving the high-quality ingredients untouched and full of that original goodness. Immediately after its hot moment of fame, the base is rapidly cooled and sent to a holding tank. This isn't just storage, it's a critical rest phase. For 4 to 8 hours, the base chills out, letting its flavors meld into a rich and harmonious mix. It's like a nap for your favorite dessert, leaving it refreshed and ready for its next transformation. The resting time is a critical step in the process, and it serves two extraordinary purposes. Not only does it ensure safety by stabilizing the mix, but it's also when magic begins to brew. Here, the ingredients unite, their flavors mingling and maturing, creating a rich and velvety foundation. It's like a symphony orchestra warming up before the grand performance, each note sinking into perfect harmony. Imagine this, the creamy base is loaded with untapped potential, and it's pumped into a high-tech freezing barrel. Think of it as the superhero of the factory, a marvel of engineering that can take the warm, silky ice cream base and rapidly cool it below freezing in no time. The result? A rich, smooth, velvety texture that's just one step shy of the ice cream we know and love. But wait, there's more science behind the scoop. As the base churns in the barrel, air is whipped into the mixture, giving Ben & Jerry's its light and fluffy signature texture. What comes out of the step isn't quite ice cream just yet. It's more like a luscious soft serve, thick enough to hold its shape, but soft enough for something incredible to happen next. Now comes the moment we've all been waiting for, the iconic chunks and swirls. This is where the factory gets a little wild. Enter the chunk feeder, the MVP of mix-ins. This machine is a mechanical maestro, designed to gently, yet thoroughly, fold in those legendary add-ins without so much as a crumb getting crushed. Brownie bits, chewy cookie dough, peanut butter cups, and rivers of caramel all make their way into the creamy base, turning it into a treasure trove of texture and flavor. Workers fill the chunk feeder with buckets of these delightful bits, and the machine does its job with precision, ensuring every spoonful is the perfect blend of creamy and chunky. Next up, the semi-solid ice cream flows to the automatic filler, a high-speed machine that can fill up to a whopping 270 pints per minute. Picture a blur of movement as each container is filled with just the right amount of creamy goodness and chunky perfection. Every pint is meticulously portioned for consistent weight and volume. No skimping on chunks here. The freshly filled pints then move to the litter, where lids are placed and sealed in one swift and satisfying motion. This step locks in all that creamy, chunky freshness and gets the pints ready for the final freezing stage. But don't think the journey is over just yet. Ben & Jerry's has a rigorous quality control process. Every pint is carefully inspected to ensure it meets their high standards before it heads out into the world. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the final freeze brings the ice cream down to an ultra-cold minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit? This step ensures the ice cream is perfectly scoopable when it lands in your freezer at home. Every hour, quality control officers step into action, carefully pulling pints from the production line. But these aren't just any pints. Each one is weighed, scrutinized, and even cut open. The officers inspect the chunk distribution and look for air bubbles. Why? because even the tiniest air bubble can mess with the ice cream's smooth, creamy texture. Only the pints that pass the rigorous test are allowed to move forward, ensuring that every single tub meets Ben & Jerry's famous high standards. But the journey isn't over yet. Picture this: the ice cream has been filled, sealed, and quality checked, but it's still not quite ready to be tossed into your freezer at home. What's missing? That perfect scoopable consistency. Here's where the real fun begins: the spiral hardener. Now, this isn't just any freezer, it's an industrial freezer chilled to a bone-numbing minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. The ice cream pints are placed in a massive corkscrew-shaped conveyor belt that slowly spirals through the freezing chamber. But this isn't a race, it's a slow, steady process that takes hours. Why? Because the gradual cooling allows the ice cream to harden evenly, keeping it smooth and creamy while preserving the integrity of all of those delicious mix-ins. By the time the pints finish their spiral journey, they've reached their ideal frozen state, perfectly ready for the next step. The packaging and shipping process is a well-oiled machine in itself. Workers quickly shrink-wrap the pints in groups of 8, ensuring they're tightly sealed to keep them safe and sound on their way to you. The process begins in the blink of an eye, but it's all about ensuring each pint is securely packaged for the journey ahead. Next, the pints are organized, stacked onto pellets, and loaded into refrigerated trucks with precision. These trucks aren't your typical vehicles. They're built to maintain the perfect ice cream-friendly temperature as the pints travel far and wide. Whether it's to your local grocery store, a nearby ice cream shop, or even another country, Ben & Jerry's makes sure that each pint stays as fresh and creamy and delicious as the moment it left the factory. From the iconic Vermont factory to freezers around the world, the shipping team at Ben & Jerry's works tirelessly, delivering thousands of pints every day, ensuring you'll have that creamy, dreamy scoop in your freezer whenever you need it. And that's the scoop on how your favorite pint of ice cream makes it from the factory to your bowl, still just as delightful as when it was first made. How cool is that? From happy cows at Vermont farms to high-tech machinery, Ben & Jerry's is more than just ice cream. It's a story of innovation, sustainability, and delicious creativity. Every bite is the product of innovation, precision, and a commitment to making the world a little sweeter. So the next time you savor a pint, remember, you're not just eating ice cream, you're experiencing a blend of science, craftsmanship, and heart. Curious about more incredible production processes like this? Well, hit the subscribe button and join us as we uncover the coolest innovations in the food industry. Until next time, stay curious and stay hungry.